Hello, everyone. My name is Greg Hunter, and I am the president of West Hill Community Association, your neighborhood partner, and we're dedicated to fostering the community spirit, advocating for positive change, and creating meaningful connections within our great area for a place to live and work. If you're also inspired of actually being a part of us, feel free to reach out to our website at mywesthill.org/join, or if you want to be a donor for us to continue our great partnerships and also within the community, our events such as the cinema and also our takeovers, feel free to go to our website as well at mywesthill.org. Um, Lastly, I'm excited to remind everyone about the Holiday Lights contest that is going on right now, and you need to submit your home or business, because you can actually be a business as well, by the 19th of this month, so you can be part of that contest. So please, please, please go to our website. If you need the link, we can provide it in the chat. And then last but not least, during the session, if you would like to share your thoughts, please feel free to either submit them through Zoom or on Facebook live chat, and we will do our best to address them as we continue on with um, this event. So from there, I will be passing it on to speak to Chrissy about the minimum wage in unincorporated King County. Chrissy, you are on.
All right. Can you hear me okay? Great. Uh, thank you so much for setting this up, and thank you for everybody for attending in the evening. We really appreciate it. We appreciate the opportunity to be able to share this important information to employers and employees and potential employees for unincorporated King County. So I'm here tonight. First of all, my name is Chrissy Rosello, and I work with the Department of Local Services in King County. And the Department of Local Services is the local government for unincorporated areas of King County. So if you're not in a city, we are your access to government. So whether we're providing road services or permitting or community grants, or we're connecting you to other parts of King County, that's who we are. So we're really pleased to be here tonight. So just about the minimum wage. In May of this year, our King County Council, our elected officials, passed an ordinance raising the minimum wage in unincorporated King County. Uh, the minimum wage is the lowest amount an employer can pay their employee. Usually, most people hear it as an hourly rate, but it really doesn't matter if you pay somebody with a salary or hourly or piece by the piece. This is the lowest that you can pay your employee. King County over the years has developed different minimum wages. And how this happens is the state law basically says the state sets a minimum wage. And if a jurisdiction, either by the elected officials or by vote of the people, decides that in that region or in that jurisdiction they want to be able to pay more, they can pay more than the state minimum wage as long as it's more, not less. So the state sets the floor. In unincorporated King County, the new rate is $20.29 starting January 1st per hour. There are some reductions for smaller employers, which we'll go into in a minute. You can see that Seattle, Tukwila, Burien, Renton, SeaTac also have higher minimum wage than the state rate. If a jurisdiction has not adopted a higher rate, then they use the state rate. Uh, Also, you may have noticed Everett is going to have a new higher minimum wage starting next year. Bellingham has a higher minimum wage, and there are maybe other parts across the state. We in King County and especially local services are not the authority on this, but I just think it's important for employers to know this because I know several employers have people that work in different areas of the county. So I think it's really important to know. And if you have employees in these areas, I would encourage you to reach out directly to those jurisdictions to make sure that you understand the nuances and the rules of each of those. So today we're going to focus on unincorporated King County. And just to give you some background, an ordinance proposing to raise the minimum wage was introduced at the King County Council in 2023. And after that introduction, there was a series of meetings and a public hearing. And then where there was debate and public comment. And then in May 2024, the council passed the ordinance that said on January 1st, 2025, the minimum wage will increase and it will go up uh, or be adjusted each year to reflect the cost the um, the CPI. And we've been doing communication starting in the fall about this. Just starting this month through January, we are actually also asking the public and others to review administrative rules to put that help flesh out the ordinance. It won't change the content or the intent of the ordinance, but we are the administrators of it, and we had to put more detail in the implementation than the council had provided in the ordinance. Um, but January 1st, the new minimum wage will be in effect. So uh, I sometimes hear the question, how did this happen? Who made this decision? So I wanted to be clear that on who's who. So the King County Council is the governing body and they create the law. And then they have given the authority to the Department of Local Services, which is in the executive branch of the government, to administer it. So that's the differences between the two bodies. The ordinance that the council passed also requires that the King County Executive, starting in January 1, 26, pull together a work group to evaluate if the minimum wage meets the basic needs of families and to also evaluate the impact of the minimum wage on the economy. And then on 2026 and every year after, a report is due to council answering those questions. And um, I wanted to make sure folks knew this because I have also heard the questions about how do we propose changes to the ordinance? What if this isn't working? How will the council address it? And so it is written in the ordinance that there's an opportunity to look at the impact on it starting in January 2026. I mentioned that we've been doing communications and we really appreciate the partnership like West Hill Community Association and Chambers and other organizations to help us with this communication. We knew that we needed people in the community to help us with this. When the ordinance was passed, there was media coverage. And then this fall, we funded more than 10 organizations to host webinars like this to distribute information directly to businesses and to employees. We've also mailed an information piece to about 19,000 businesses in unincorporated King County, and that was a flyer that folded out and had a workplace poster in different languages as well. We have an informational page with a communications toolkit called kingcounty.gov wage, sorry. And that web has translated workplace posters and flyers in many different languages. We also, over the last month, purchased advertising and articles in community newspapers in multiple languages, and coming soon are some short Spanish and English videos. So, all right. So, one of the another question that we often get is, am I based in unincorporated King County, or my employees in unincorporated King County? And that is a really good question because it's confusing. The unincorporated King County is the green part on this map. And we have a tool on our website, and if you use this QR code, it can take you right to that tool where you can, let me just show you, type in your address. Um, and this is what the website looks like. It goes to a map. You can type in your address and it will show you where you are and if you or the work being done is in unincorporated King County. So always go to that website if you're unsure, because that will help pinpoint exactly where the work is being taken place. All right, so now I'm going to go through a bunch of numbers here. In unincorporated King County, the base rate starting in January 1st, 2025 is $20.29 per hour. So I mentioned there were reductions for smaller employers, sorry. So I'll read this, but hopefully you can read it as well. If you're an employer with 15 or fewer employees and an annual gross revenue of less than 2 million, the minimum wage for your workers is $17.29 per hour. If you are 15 or fewer employers and your gross revenue is 2 million or more, it's $18.29 per hour. And if you have more than 15 employees but fewer than 500, and it doesn't matter what your gross revenue is, you're also 18.29 per hour. And so basically the base rate is for more than 500 employees and gross revenue of any amount. And I just want to be clear, is that it is for the number of employees worldwide, regardless of where the company is based, as well as the revenue. The revenue is also worldwide. To make it confusing, some jurisdictions in Washington, but in other states as well, have that, and some have just, oh, it's just the number of your revenue within the county. But ours is regardless of where you're located and regardless of where you do business. So it's the total worldwide. The rate will increase each year to reflect inflation. King County Local Services is tasked with using a formula that's set out by the council on determining what that rate will be, and also then publicizing what the new minimum wage is for the coming year. So this is pretty typical of what the federal government and the state government do. Every fall, they come out and say the next year's minimum rate is X. So the reductions for the smaller employers phase out in coming years, and they do it in different ways. If you are the smallest employer, meaning that you have 15 or fewer employees and an annual gross revenue of less than 2 million, then every year the minimum wage, the difference between your rate that you pay and the base rate gets smaller by 50 cents each year. So in 2025, your rate is $3 less per hour than the base rate. In 2026, it's $2.50 less. And that happens, it goes down 50 cents every year until 2031, when your rate for the smallest employer matches the base rate. So that will be the same. If you are the next level up of employers, meaning you have 15 or fewer employees and a gross revenue of 2 million or more, or you have more than 15 employees but fewer than 500, then the difference between your rate and the base rate starts in 2025 at $2 less per hour. So that's how we get the 18.29. And then the next year it's $1 less. And then in 2027, it's the same as the base rate. There's no reduction. So it kind of gets smaller and smaller and smaller until everybody in 2031, it will be the same minimum wage rate for all employers, no matter the size. Why did the King County Council adopt this? Well, the two reasons is to help working families in unincorporated King County meet the cost of living. As you all know, we are in one of the most expensive areas, and the cost of living continues to rise here for us. The second one is to make sure that the hourly rate in unincorporated King County is similar to nearby cities. As an example, in 2024, the minimum wage in Skyway was $16.28. Skyway is in unincorporated King County. The rate in Tukwila was $20.29. So the difference for an employer trying to attract an employee was, $4, so quite a bit. And so the council wanted to make sure that there was some equity between the different areas. What this means for employers, I think the first one is to know this information. We're trying to get the word out. My ask for you is please share this with others in your community and other people that you know have employees. So the first thing is to know what is the correct rate for you. So for the number of employees, to figure out what rate you are, you should be using the average number of people employed during the past 12 months, again, regardless of where each employee worked. So if you had employees all around the world, you count that total number of employees. And then for gross revenue, it's the same. Use the total worldwide revenue of your business. As you do for state and federal, you should be documenting all your hours worked by employees and keeping records. And we're asking you to also post the new wage rate in the workplace, similar to this, what you would do with the state minimum wage. We have the workplace poster online. If you go to kingcounty.gov /wage, there is a communications toolkit, and there you can see the workplace poster in English and translate it in more than 10 languages. And this is what the poster looks like. It's 8.5 by 11. It can be printed out in color or black and white. Um, one of the employers in the region asked that we have a checkbox that by what level, what is the hourly rate for that place of business. So we have done that. Um, but hopefully it has all the information that you and your employees need on that. If you can't go online, give us a call and we will be able to send you one. Or if you got the mailer, the back page of that mailer was a workplace poster that you can also use. What this means for employees, I think the first thing is making sure employees know where they work. This rate is for work done in unincorporated King County. And so we're hoping that we can make sure employees know how to find out where their work is done. And this takes you to the map that I showed you earlier on our website. Okay, so next step. So the minimum wage is taking place on January 1st. I mentioned that we've developed administrative rules that won't change the intent of the ordinance, but do provide a little bit more detail about the implementation of it. That is available for public comment on publicinput.com /KC wage. Or you could go to our website and it will take you there as well. We are asking for public comments through January 25th. And we hope that we get lots of comments. We want to know if people know about this, what their questions are. After we have the comments on the rules, we're developing a fairly comprehensive, frequently asked questions that other jurisdictions have told us have been really helpful for employers and employees. So we want to hear all the questions now so we can make sure we're capturing them and providing answers. Um, Again, next step is my ask for you is to please share this information with other employers and employees. Give us a call at 206-477-3800 or email asklocalservices@kingcounty.gov with your questions. We are getting questions through our email. A lot of them are based or on I'm located here. Does this apply to me? And we're trying to get back as quickly as possible. So often it's the same day where we're trying to get answers for people. And then go to our website, kingcounty.gov /wage for more information. That is my presentation, but I'd love to hear any questions or any comments on this.
You can open it up to folks on Zoom too. Joel confirming you don't see any on Facebook.
Joel, are you there?
Well, Joel's getting back on. I could put a question out there.
Yeah, thanks.
No
How
questions on Facebook as well.
no questions on Facebook yet. Okay. Christy, could you talk a little bit about how this new minimum wage law impacts workers that collect tips?
That get tips. Is that what you said? Yeah.
Yes.
So in the ordinance that our council passed, tips, gratuities, service charges do not count toward the minimum wage, so they have to be on top of the minimum wage. So a little bit different than well, in Seattle, they, for the first couple of years, allowed tips to count toward the minimum wage until 2025 when they no longer count. So basically, this is regardless of whether you receive tips, gratuities, or service charges. So people who get tips now and maybe have a lower minimum wage because of the state law now will get the higher minimum wage required by unincorporated King County.
And is this, you said this wage, is this tied to the state's wage, or is this a flat rate that the council has delivered?
Yeah, this is a rate that the council calculated and delivered, so it's not tied to the state minimum wage.
And you mentioned there would be some opportunity as this goes into effect for folks to provide some feedback. Is that going to be kind of a structured thing, or is there going to be surveys or a time period where there's going to be outreach happening, or is that more just folks sending in comments via the methods you mentioned?
Yeah, I think one is if we would really appreciate people going to our website and going to the public rules document and reading that and providing any feedback or emailing us at any time with feedback, because that will help us with communication and making sure we've got the right frequently asked questions document. So that's number one. The second thing is starting January 1, 2026, which is, I know, a year away. That is when the King County Executive will pull together a work group, and that work group includes county folks, but also people representing employers and employees outside of the county to look at the impact. I don't know exactly how that feedback then will be gathered. I don't know. I mean, typically things would be to do meetings like this or surveys, but I can't say how that will be done. But we
Could you
welcome questions and feedback at any time. Yeah.
Fantastic. Could you
Yeah.
share a little bit more about how enforcement works and what opportunities that folks, employees have,
Yeah.
be able to learn more about which level they're at, and if they do, if something does not match up with the new law, what kind of ways that they have to address that?
Yeah, that is a great question, and you should update the PowerPoint to reflect that. So right now, King County does not have the resources or the authority or the direction to enforce this. So basically, if an employee feels like they are not getting the right wage, the ordinance directs that employee to first contact the employer and notify, hopefully using certified mail, notify the employer that they don't feel like they're getting the minimum wage, and that the employer has a time, has some time to get back to that employee and show records or, whatever that is. If it's not reconciled satisfactory, then the employee can go to bring a civil action in court. So that is where it's not quite enforcement, but that's where it happens. So the employee can go to court and say that their employer violated the ordinance. And then if the court finds that that is the case, then they can award attorney's fees and back pay plus interest. And I think that language is fairly common in a lot of federal and state law. So, yeah.
Is there any role for the county in the enforcement process? Like, would there be like an educational role or something where the county could step in?
Yeah, I mean that is what the county's role is information and education right now. There's no other enforcement. Yeah.
I think we still no more comments, right? We got them all? All right. So maybe to end this, we'll let folks know they can rewatch on Facebook Live. Will be shared on our Facebook page at My West Hill, and it will be uploaded soon to our YouTube channel. Those are really great ways to share it with others too. Makes it really easy to share videos. Um, and we will make sure to post all contact information, and we'll be posting content on our blog at mywesthill.org for more shareable content. And we're posting some of that contact information that Chrissy mentioned in the chat on Facebook, and that will be on our website as well. So if there are further questions or anything pops up after, or folks that are rewatching this later on, please use those ways to reach out and get more information.